Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be going over the single married Excel file. So we're going to go over an example that I have here to the right where I've done out some calculations for you just so you can see how to put them in Excel, and then we'll talk about them. And then what's going to happen is we're going to answer some of the questions here at the bottom. And what we can do, right down here, what we can do is we can reference our table to try to remember what steps we need to take. Okay, so what I have down here or up here are three scenarios. We've got two people, A and B, and the three scenarios are our rows. Row 1 here is they each make $55,000, that's their salary. Row 2, person A makes more, $100,000, person B makes $10,000, and then row 3, person A makes $500,000 and person B makes $10,000. Okay, so what I have down here then are their calculated taxes they have to pay. And you'll see a couple different columns. Column 1 is we're going to file our taxes together jointly. Okay. So then the other option is we are going to file separately. Okay. So that means that we're in a different tax bracket. We do our taxes completely separately. And then since we are together, we're going to pay them together. We add them. Each of our individual taxes, we'll add them so we can compare to filing together. So we're not going to go through every single piece of this table, but we'll do the first row jointly, and then we'll talk about separately, just so you can see where the calculations are coming from. So what you can do is you can click into each of these boxes, and you can check out the calculation just so you can get a feel for what's going on. Okay. So I have a couple extra pieces here written down. For the first scenario, the combined income is $110,000. So this plus this is this. So what we have to do then to find out how much you have to pay in taxes combined for A and B, they're joint taxes, you take this number and you run it through this tax bracket system. Okay, so I have again up here 110,000, that's how much they made. And so the first thing I can do is just look at, okay, well, where am I going to go to? Where's 110,000? Well, it's in this. So that means I have to go through the first three boxes here, which means I'll have three different calculations here for how much they have to pay in taxes. So remember how this works. I take my 110,000 and like paint, I just pour it into the bracket and it fills up this first box. And if there's more and it overflows, then it goes into the next box and it fills that one up. If there's more money than fits in this box, that flows into the next box, and it just keeps going until you run out of money. So we start with 110,000. We look at this and say, okay, does this fit into this? Yep, and it overflows. So I'm going to highlight this right here. We'll do yellow. We are going to use this, right? So then that means I take my first $19,050 and I tax that at 10%. So equals, I take my first $19,050 times 0.10. That means that on my first $19,000 I made, right, I filled my 110,000 into this box, right? That first 19,000 and change dollars, I have to pay $1,905 in taxes. Okay, so now we take that 19,000 that we made and we move it to the side. It's done. We've already been taxed on it. Now we look at the next chunk of money we've made. We look at the money that fits into this box here. So we take that money then and we tax it at 12%. You'll notice our actual income is bigger than this, so we definitely fill up the whole box. So we fill this box. Okay, how do we figure out how much we pay? Well, equals, we have to figure out how much money sits in this box. Well, it's going to be $77,400, that's the top of the box, minus, and then how much did we already do? We already got up to $19,050. Okay, so the way we can think about this is we could take this number, the bigger number, minus the previous bigger number. And we can always do that. This number, the biggest in the box, if we fill it up, if we fill the box up, it'll be this big number minus this big number. And then we times that by 0.12, the 12%. It equals, we are now paying $7,000 in $7,002 in order to pay taxes on this chunk of our money. Okay, what's left? Well, we look at our number. Do we get into this box? We did. We talked about that before. But look, 110,000 is less than this, the top of the box, so we don't fill it all the way up. So we definitely need to use this, so we'll highlight it, but we don't fill the box up. Okay, so how do we figure out how much to tax or how to tax? We hit equals. All right, how much money of ours fills this box? Well, we're not going to use this because we don't get to the top. So we take our total money, 110,000, minus, and then how much did we already get taxed on? We got taxed on $77,400. So how much we have minus how much we've already been taxed on. Because I don't want to get taxed on that again, I'm taking it away. Times 0.22, because that's the percentage, the tax rate. All right. So what do? I take these numbers here, right? I add them up, and that's how much I pay in taxes. There you go. So you add these three numbers, throw it into this box. Okay, so once we can do that, not too bad, then what we do is we individually do each person. So person A, we could just start with them, and they make the same amount of money, so don't do the work twice. We can do this. So we take person A, we'll go over here and just write in their salary, just so we have it to look at. They make $55,000. So that means we get to fill up at least part of all three of these boxes because 55,000 is in here. So we start at the beginning. On our first $9,525, we get taxed 10%. So equals our first $9,525, I'm taxed 10%. How much money that's being taxed and what percent. All right, so this is how much I owe for my first tax bracket. Keep going, okay, equals, well, how much money fits in the next bracket? My salary, my taxable income is bigger than this, so I definitely fill up the whole box. But how much goes in there? Well, it's $38,700 minus how much have I already been taxed on? I've been taxed on my first $9,525. So this calculation we keep doing, big number minus the big number here, is okay, I'm going up to $38,700. I'm getting taxed on all that now, but I already got taxed on this, so don't do it again. Take it away. It's out of the equation. Times 0.12. Okay, so that means on this next chunk of my income, this is how much I pay, $3,501. All right, last piece, 55,000 fits in here. Doesn't go all the way up, okay? So up to this point, we filled up these three, at least somewhat. We filled these two completely, and it spilled over into this one, but didn't fill it up. So how much of our money fills it up? Well, we've got 55,000 minus how much did we already get taxed on? We got taxed on 38,700. So this calculation is telling us how much of our money overflowed into this box. And then we are taxed 22%. I take these numbers, I add them together. That's how much tax I pay for person A. Well, person B is exactly the same because they make the same, so I duplicate that here. And so if we are together, and we're going to pay together, but we decide to file separately, pretending we're two separate people, we file our taxes, we'll each pay this amount. But then if we total that together, we end up having to pay $15,863. What do we notice? That is less money than filing jointly. So if all else is equal, it is better for us to be able to file separately than together in this first scenario. Saves us a little bit of money to file separately. This is just a simplified piece of the puzzle to get you to see how filing together versus filing separately can have an impact. And what you'll see is if you start changing up how much each person makes, you can see that that impact switches. So the formulas are in here. You can go through the rest of it, but it's all solved here. If you then person A, you make the same total amount, $110,000 between the two people, but if person A makes a lot of money and person B doesn't make very much, comparatively, then you'll see that it actually is beneficial for you to file together, because green, that's less than red. All right, and so the way our system is set up is that a person who makes a lot, if they are married to someone who makes a little bit, and you file together, what it does is it kind of brings down person A's tax bracket. And what do we mean by that? Well, kind of think of it this way. So if you're looking at these two brackets, these two combined people, if they're together, will hit this bracket, right? They'll have $110,000 combined income. They'll be in the 22% bracket. And they won't even fill it up, right? They'll only get less than halfway. But think about person A now. If person A is by themselves, go to this bracket. You've actually now, as person A, bumped yourself into the 24% bracket. So if you're together, the maximum percentage you're going to get hit is 22%. If you go separately, then person A, who again has most of the income to be taxed, actually gets themselves all the way through the 22% into the 24%. So combining their income with person B effectively brings down the bracket that they're in, because instead of having to be in this bigger one, they combine and only have to end up in the 22%. So this is what can happen with this situation, is that if you make a lot, or if your partner makes a lot, but you don't make as much, then you can combine your taxes to help bring down the tax rate on the person who makes a lot more. So it's just one of the many pieces of things to think about when taxes are happening. Again, this is not a complete picture in any sense, but it is mathematically correct and is correct for the factors that we're considering. Okay, let's look at number 1 together. So number 1 says, you and your spouse have a combined taxable income of $58,750. How much do you pay in income tax if you file jointly? What is the effective tax rate? So 2 questions here. So let's start with the first one. So we are going to do it together, jointly. So that means take our income, we can put it up here so that it's easier to look at, $58,750. Okay, we want to know how much to pay, right? So then we look at this and we say, okay, well, how far are we going to go? We definitely fill up the first bracket because our income is bigger than this number, but we don't fill up the second bracket. We get into it, we just don't fill it up. So we're only going to have to go through these 2 brackets. So let's get to it. The first one, remember, this is just for everyone that fills it up fixed, first $19,000. So we take our $19,050 times 10%. So your first $19,000 and change dollars is taxed at 10%, which will be $1,905 you have to pay. Okay, so awesome. We've knocked this one out. We got it. Keep moving on. $58,000 spills over into this bracket. Doesn't fill it up, but it spills into it. Okay. So then we have to figure out, all right, well, how much does my money fill it up this bracket? And so what we do is we take the amount of money we have and we say, okay, we're going to fill this bracket up, but wait, don't fill it up all the way with my money because I've already been taxed $19,050. So remember, this first calculation is important. You're going to take your money and put it into this bracket so we can tax it, but you've already put in $19,000 and been taxed. So we move that away. That's what the subtraction is just take that away. We've already been taxed. Only consider this leftover. And then remember, we multiply by 0.12. Okay, so then our total amount that we'll have will be, let's highlight this here, will be this plus this. Because this is, we only filled in, not even all the way, but we only filled up these 2 brackets. We didn't fill the second one up all the way, but we got into it. So then our total will be, and we can put a little equal sign here, this plus this, $6,669. So we will pay $6,669 in taxes. Awesome. So let's put this in blue. Okay. What about the effective tax rate? Well, remember, the effective tax rate is how much you pay in taxes divided by the amount of money you started with, right? Your taxable income. So how do we do this? Well, let's put in a little equation here so we can write out what we're doing. So this is the tax amount divided by the taxable income. Okay, well, that ends up being, put another fraction in there, $6,669, and we could put some units in here, divided by $58,750. Again, how much you paid in tax divided by your total taxable income. And we can do this in the calculator, do a little division, gives me 0.1135. All right, which is our effective tax rate is, I'm going to turn that into 11.35%. And blue. We'll make this blue too. Okay, so we pay 11.35% of our income in taxes. All right, and if you check this out here, that should kind of make sense. You're not going to pay less than 10, right, or 10 because you had to pay some 12. Okay, you're not going to pay 12 because you had to pay some of your money 10. We're going to be somewhere in the middle of these two, and 11.35 is in between these. So that should make sense. Your effective tax rate should make sense based on the tax rates that you had applied to you. Okay, let's look at number 2. So this one says you and your spouse have a combined gross income of $141,500. We're going to subtract a standard deduction of $24,000. How much do we pay in income tax? And what is the effective tax rate? It's a very similar problem to the last one, except we've added something in here. We've got a standard deduction of $24,000. So what do we have to remember? Deduction is applied first. We have to apply the deduction first. So how do we do that? We take our $141,000, our gross income, and we take away the deduction. We are not going to be taxed on the full $141,000. We are only going to be taxed on $141,500 minus $24,000, which gives me $117,500. So remember, always apply the deduction first. Tax credit later, deduction first. So we take this number and we're going to bring it up to the table. So we are going to do the joint married table. So let's get rid of this. Put in our amount of money. Okay. And let's run through again. So we look at our income, our taxable income. We compare it to the table and say, okay, we're going to fill up the first, fill up the second. We get into this third one, but don't fill it up because our income is less than this number here. So let's start with the first one. All right. So we start with this first one. Again, we pay $19,000, right, times $19,050 because we fill the box up times 0.1. All right. Second one, we're in this bracket. We fill it up and more. So then how much do we have to pay? Well, we go all the way up to $77,400, okay? And then, well, oops, we've already paid $19,050. So take that away because I don't want to pay taxes on it twice. Then multiply that by 0.12. So again, we fill up this box, so that's why this number is here. But then you've already paid taxes on your first $19,000, so you can take that away. That's the subtraction. Okay, now this third box. Again, I don't fill it all the way up, but I do get into it, so let's highlight it because we're going to use it. So how much do I actually get into this box? Well, I take my total taxable income right here, my $117,500, and I subtract how much I've already been taxed. I've already been taxed on my first $77,000. So it's, okay, I go all the way up to the top of my income, and then I take away the amount I've already been taxed, because I don't want to get taxed again on this, times my 22%. All right, so what do I pay? I pay this plus this plus this. So down here, if you've set this up from the previous one, we can just keep adding. I pay $17,729. So let's bring that down. $17,729. We pay $17,729 in taxes. Okay, so we pay $17,729 in taxes. So what about our effective tax rate? Well, we can take what we had up here and just paste it in here, because we're going to use it. Remember, it's the tax amount divided by the gross income. So we pay $17,729, and our gross income was $141,500. What does that become? Well, let's type it in. 17,729 divided by 141,500. That is 0.125. Oops. 0.125. Or 12.5%. So altogether we paid 12.5%. So let's take that up. We look at it and we say, okay, well, let's see here. It's bigger than 10%. It's bigger than 12%. Okay, you might look at this and say, but Mr. B, I got into the 22%. That's much higher than the 12%. So what's going on here? Shouldn't my tax rate be higher? But remember, we had a really nice $24,000 deduction. So that took a big chunk off that we didn't actually get taxed, right? So it's not only that the effective rate is going to be some combination of these, but it'll be even lower if you also had a deduction, because I got to just take my money completely away and keep it tax-free. So the deduction also will lower this effective tax rate. Okay, so number 3 says, calculate the tax owed in the following scenarios for person A filing both jointly and single. So we're going to fill out a very similar table as what we had above. So person A makes $100,000 and person B makes $100,000. Okay, so we take that and together we'll just write here what their combined income is, $200,000. Now this next one, person A makes $150,000, person B makes $50,000. That's still $200,000 combined. So we'll even write this out. This is A, B, and C. And then the last one, person A makes $200,000, person B makes $0. So again, their combined is $200,000. Okay. So their joint tax, since they make the same combined in all 3 scenarios, we're actually going to just put those together, right? So we're just going to do it once and then copy that down. And then we'll look at just one of these to just remind ourselves how to do the single, put it in the little formulas, and then we'll go. So okay, let's take our $200,000 up to the joint tax table. So we go up here. All right, so let's get rid of this. How much do we have? $200,000. Okay, so then we have to think about this table. Well, my $200,000, what's going to happen? I'm going to fill up this first one for sure. Oop, $200,000 is bigger than this. The second, I'm actually going to fill this third one up. I'm going to have to go all through these. Okay, so we can do this. We'll just do it over again just to kind of say it again. But if you've already done this work, you shouldn't redo it. So what I really should be doing is just to show you, let's Control Z this. This and this I had filled up both these boxes in a previous calculation. If I'm going to do it again, why in the world, right? Why in the world would I do it again? So instead of that, what we could do is just leave these two done and then start from this third box, because again, these first two are me filling up each box and how much do I have to pay. Well, if I just am doing that again, I'm still going to have to pay the same amount. So I think it's an important lesson. So we're just going to keep these two and we'll start here. Get rid of this. We're in this third box now. We've filled up these two, already done that calculation. So we take our 200,000. Did we fill up this box? Yep, we did. So in here we hit equals. Okay, well, how much is in this box? Well, it's 165,000 minus, how much did I already get taxed on? 77,400 times my 0.22 tax rate. All right, well, I actually get into this box, so let's highlight it because now we've got into here. We didn't fill it up all the way, but we're in it. Okay, so I end up paying, well, I don't fill the box, so I don't use this number. I get up to 200,000 minus, well, how much did I already get taxed on? I already got taxed on 165,000 times 24%. So I go into here, I'm missing my last box, and that gives me a total of $36,579 to pay. So I take my 36579 and I put it in here. 36579. This is how much money I pay. And remember, that's the same for all of these because each scenario here, they combined make the same amount. So I'll fill in another easy one, $0. In this scenario, person B makes nothing, so they get charged nothing. And then we'll do the single for scenario A. So they each make 100,000, so we'll just do 100,000, 100,000. Again, let's think about this. These first two calculations were me filling up the two boxes. So let's keep them the way they are. The second calculation, though, I didn't fill this full box up. So let's just delete that and start it from scratch. Equals, okay, do I fill up the whole box? This is bigger than this, yep. So how much gets in there? 82,500 minus 38,700. Remember, that's because I fill up, my money fills up all the way to 82,000, but I've already been taxed on a full 38,000, so I take that away. Times 0.22, because it's a 22%. Okay, so that's this full box. Now, looking at how much I make, oh, I get into this box, so let's include it. Okay, well, how much fills in that box? I take my 100,000 minus, how much have I already been taxed? I've already been taxed on 82,500 times my 24%. So my total then would be equal to this plus this plus this plus this. I pay $18,289.50. So we're going to take this number, 18289.5. We're going to put it here, 182,892.5. Okay. Added an extra 2. Don't do that. All right, well, this is also true for this person because they both make the same amount of money. Both 100,000, they both pay this. So then total together, they would pay this amount plus this amount. Okay. So in this case, they actually end up paying the exact same amount. It doesn't matter whether you do it jointly or they each do it individually, it's even. So we'll color those both in green because it doesn't matter which one you choose. So go ahead and fill out the rest of this table. The solution guide will have the full table in with which is better or which is worse.